Well, since yesterday, there's been, well, actually since last week, Apostle Chibuzor of our Omega Power Ministry has been trending on Twitter. First, it was about the Happy Boys. You can remember the Happy Boys, these kids who were working as security guards at a fast food restaurant that were fired because they were happy. Apparently, Apostle Chibuzor took them outside the country to Cyprus, but they had certain things to say last week, which eventually ended up in an apology from them, saying that they didn't mean what they said. But then again, only just yesterday, something else happened. Something else hit the social media sphere, and it was about another party that he had helped the family this time. If you remember Deborah from 2022, May last year, who was lynched in, was it Niger State or Sokoto? Sokoto. He apparently had aided the family, relocating them to Port Harcourt, giving them a home, not just a home, but an estate for them to manage a car and a wife a restaurant. And that was all well and good. There was even a video evidence to support that he actually did this for them. But only just yesterday, the family came out to say that the rent is finished and we're stranded. We've had to send our children back to the village because we can't cope anymore. There's not much told about the story, but if the story they are telling is true, because he hasn't yet come out to tell his own part, to say exactly what's happening, then I don't understand what's happening with the church industry. And I say that I'll come back to this later. But I don't know if you've heard the story and what you think about it. Have you heard about the story, MM?
Yes, I have. I actually, when you mentioned it this morning, I checked a report on it, actually, because there's a report about it. But to be honest, the report wasn't explicit enough, right? So I can't hold off on the information based on this report because it's not clear, right? So yes, based on this other report that you have, there was an instance where this particular apostle called the man out in church, to try and, explain, why this story is in the public space, right? And the man was, because he doesn't speak English, he speaks Hausa. He wasn't exactly sure how to, he couldn't properly articulate, his thoughts, his response, right? But in a nutshell, the apostle has told them that this has been provided for you. Kindly go back to the to the apartment that was provided. He even said he called a mechanic to fix the car that was given to him. So so basically that's the nutshell of the story as at this morning when I read the latest reports on it.
Okay, so well, the thing is this: most people make promises with good intentions.
Very, very true.
And unfortunately, sometimes they're able to pull it off. Sometimes they're not able to. Different factors. It could be economic. It could be a case of you making a promise against something you're expecting that didn't happen and all. But
exactly true.
But then there were people who said that he explicitly stated that they had become landlords.
Exactly. There was a video.
Yes, there was a video recording according to where it said they had become landlords, meaning he didn't rent an apartment from there, for them rather. He gave them a house,
a property.
But then, of course, people's understanding of the word landlord differs. For someone who was probably living in a face me, I slap you, and then you have a space to yourself, maybe they feel, okay, at least we upgraded them to this level. I, for one, have always believed that when someone promises you something, do your best to make use of whatever the person has given you and move on with your life. Entitlement will set in if you keep believing the person will come through because the person has come through for you. Note, as they said, he's a pastor. So he has his congregation to care for. So if he keeps caring for you, isn't even part of his congregation. Even his congregation too, we have an issue with it. This is me trying to be as neutral as possible.
And I agree with you, Mary, because even with the Happy Boys story, because that trended throughout last week, right? And there were different reports about it. People were bashing the pastor and saying all sorts of things, even without verifying the story, which was completely wrong. And this is me. This is not me trying to vilify the pastor in any way. This is not me trying to say, oh, he is innocent or he is guilty, right? But there are reports, there are stories. Go and verify, go and read up on it. So for the Happy Boys, sorry, darling, for the Happy Boys, so yes, they came out, they posted on their Instagram page that they have been abandoned after 6 months of not studying abroad. The pastor came forward and said, the reason I abandoned you, it's not like we abandoned you. He has been having financial restraints because of Forex. So, and also, he has over 4,000 people who are currently on the scholarship program. And he has even gave them, he also even gave them the option, come back to Nigeria and continue your studies.
So based on that, I wanted to say this, and this is why I attended the church industry. Most people would do anything to get a congregation under them. I'm also not vilifying the preacher. But there is also a part of the Bible that says, what your left hand is doing, do not let your right hand know. Publicly letting or publicly putting it out there what you're doing perhaps is also to your disservice when everything starts to collapse. Because I don't think this news would have been inside of the public if that had been something that was done, you know,
quietly.
Euphemistically. So what's the word? Quietly. Let's just use that word. Then there's one thing about giving a man a fish and giving him a net. Grand, you would rather have the net so you can go and fish. In this case, it seemed that they were giving a net because they were given an apartment, what do you call them, an estate. So
no, they were given an apartment from his mini estate.
From his mini estate?
Yes, from the pastor's
however,
mini estate.
We're provided with a car, which was told that you could use as an Uber and the lady was provided with a restaurant. If you give me a net and I do not know how to use it...
See, that's exactly my point. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about.
I might need a bit of education.
The entitlements. Look, let's be real. You were given a car for a business. You were given a restaurant, and you say you are suffering. Please, exactly what did you do with the car and the restaurant? This is me just asking a very honest question.
It was what?
The car was faulty.
The car turned out to be faulty later on because the pastor had to get a mechanic to fix it.
This is a lot.
So who was not using the car?
It wasn't functioning. And then the Happy Boys. You were told to come back home to continue your education. You said no because this person promised you this. The promise was carried out. See, the man is still offering to give you an education. But if you want to continue to stay in Cyprus, maybe we'll be sending you the school fees for Nigerian university. Then you will find the rest in Cyprus.
Okay, which of course suddenly because they want to come. They happy. Wait, let me even.
The Happy Boys. Let's go back to the Happy Boys. Let's talk about the Happy Boys.
Those boys are ingrates. Yes. Okay, you went to school for 6 months. You were happy in another man's land. All the while you were there. All the while you were there, you did not bother to look for work. You say work is difficult to find. How can work be so difficult to find? I'm sure
they said they were working. They said they were doing odd jobs.
No, they said they were jobs were. Go on, baby. Go back and read the report. They said that jobs were hard to find. That was why they couldn't continue. If not, they could have, you know.
But now that they're not coming back, what would they do there?
Thank you. Thank you.
See, okay.
Because so suddenly, education is not sweet anymore.
And no, they're appealing to Nigerians. If you feel you can support them financially to complete their education.
Sorry, where are they? Sorry, where are they? They're in Cyprus. We're here.
No.
Have they heard of the Forex, the exchange rates?
No, it does not matter.
No, it's even
you can support their education.
CBN has relaxed.
Listen, yeah.
On
either side of the divide regarding the entitlement mentality that you said that the recipients might have, I have a grouse with that one. First off, I think if you're provided with something, be grateful and make use of what you have. On the other side, if you're giving a gift, if you're doing something for someone, perhaps maybe it's not the time to let the entire world know. I think it will be much more appreciated up there if it was done in silence.
Yeah, but Mazino, don't forget that these people were in the public space. It wasn't as if, I mean, the man does these things for his church members.
Listen,
4,000 people. We don't know what's happening.
I guess this is different. This is singled out.
I appreciate what he did, but the thing is this. Did he take advantage of that public space they were in already?
I think it just happened. I think it's just a coincidence, really. I don't think, I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate.
I'm also not vilifying the preacher. I do encourage him to do more if he can, and thank you for everything that you've done for most people.
As far as I'm concerned, there are so many poor people, there are so many needy people. If you see somebody that is willing to assist you, no matter how little, make the most of it, because the moment that's stream, there's a reason they call it stream of income. The way the tap closes, you have to take care of yourself, because that person is also looking out for other people that need the same help. So that's why some people call it entitlement. When you feel you've come through for me, you should continue doing so.
And in some cases, pass it on.
Pass it. In fact, you should. I expect them to be saying, they've assisted somebody in their village.
Yes,
so
I want to assist the next person.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Please, let's just be keeping those things in mind.
Please, though, you can pass it on to Mazino here because my tank is now half tank.
See, I'm not feeling entitled, but you can also bless me. Eh?